Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today on this special for us occasion. My name is Irina Bobrova, and I'm Chief Operating Officer here at PitBullTax. Today, I'm very excited to unveil the most recent version of PitBullTax software, version 5.0. We soft launched it at our user conference 3 weeks ago, and now we are happy to share the news with everybody else. It is unbelievable, but we just entered in our 10th year on the market. We launched version 1.0 back in May of 2010, and I still vividly remember the day when Jose, Jamie, and me presented PitBullTax Baby to a crowd of about 50 tax professionals at the ASTPS bootcamp in Baltimore. My legs and hands were shaking in anticipation of how our baby will be received by the crowd. And wow, look what a technological monster we raised. PitBullTax software has been dominating the tax resolution software space for 10 years with a complete team of software engineers, developers, tax resolution professionals, administrators, customer service representatives, cybersecurity experts, and program analysts who always aware of the ever increasing technology and tax law demands. For 10 years, PitBullTax software has transformed the tax resolution business by making it more efficient and intuitive for tax professionals to solve their clients' IRS problems. Listening to feedback from thousands of our licensees all across the country, we have added major technological enhancements for even greater efficiency in case preparation and client communications. This new version was launched thanks to the brilliant team of engineers led by a prominent software developer and our Chief Technology Officer, Jose Alfaro. Up to 90% of the enhancements in version 5.0 are a result of positive customer feedback, your feedback. Our mission is to always be the leader in tax resolution software by listening, responding, and delivering incredible value to our current and future licensees. We are a self-funded company, and we don't have venture capitalists, banks, or investors to answer to. Our loyalty is to you, our licensees. That is who we answer to. And we never forget this when we come to work every day. Last year, we added a critical educational component to our company, PitBullTax Institute. We are now a continuing education provider approved by the IRS and NASBA to provide live and internet group-based classes. Our third user conference took place 3 weeks ago at the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Beach Resort, and we just closed a deal with a new venue for our fourth conference to be held at the Diplomat Beach Resort in Hollywood, Florida. This is an upscale oceanfront resort of the Hilton family that just got a massive $100 million renovation done. It exudes confidence and style, and it has a huge convention center inside the resort. The room rate we negotiated for you is $149 per night, and upgraded rooms are incredible. Stunning suites will also be available for booking. And we are planning our fall conference for September 25, 26, and 27th. As soon as we finalize contract with Diplomat, we are going to open our registration link. So save the dates. Today's webinar is being recorded. All attendees will get an email with recording link sometime today or tomorrow, and we'll probably post it on the website too. But if you stay till the end of the webinar, I have a pleasant surprise for you. Also, if we have time at the end, I'll try to answer all the questions you might have. And speaking of the questions, you can type and send your questions to me using the questions window in your GoToWebinar widget. And if for some reason we don't have time to get through all of them, I'll respond via email later. And now, without a further ado, let me show you the new and improved version 5.0. I'm going to go about the features of new version, and some of them we have already launched because we had a demand from many users, so we decided to introduce it a little bit earlier before the launch. So one of them is two-factor authentication. So now if you want to have more security and you don't want to allow other users in your company or any strangers to log to your account, we introduced two-factor authentication. So in addition to your username and password, you can receive SMS code that is sent to your mobile phone that you set up in PitBullTax software, or you can also receive it through PitBullTax mobile app. And we are going to talk about mobile app a little bit later today. So two-factor authentication was one of the new features of version 5.0. We have added several new IRS forms. So form 14134, it's subordination of federal tax lien. So if you do a lot of lien work, that will definitely be useful to you. We also added form 14135, discharge of federal tax lien. Form 12277, withdrawal of federal tax lien. And we have added form 8822, change of address. I would never in my entire life with PitBullTax would imagine that we would need form 8822 in PitBullTax. For those of you who don't remember by form number, this is change of address form. And this is simplistic form that probably all tax preparation software have, but we decided to add it as well. Why? Many of you know that in September of 2018, IRS started to redact individual taxpayers' transcripts. So now they don't show the sensitive data on the transcript at all. You can call the IRS and receive unmasked transcripts, but you need to call the IRS first. So a lot of questions we get, why we cannot get unmasked transcripts through PitBullTax. Well, this is not us, this is the IRS. As soon as they allow to do it online, so you can request it through your e-services account, we will add it as well to PitBullTax. But for now, the process is you call practitioner priority service, you say that you want to receive unmasked transcripts for your individual client. Please don't use word redacted because they do not understand the word redacted. So unmasked is the one you want to use. And you can then receive it to your secure mailbox with e-services account. However, if you request unmasked transcript to be sent via mail to the taxpayer's last known address, this is where Form 8822 is necessary. Basically, a lot of non-filers, they have outdated address with the IRS on file. So before you start working the case with a non-filer, you need to update the address on file. So file form 8822, the IRS will update address on file, and they can send unmasked transcripts to the taxpayers. So this is why we introduced form 8822. Next feature in version 5.0 is one of my favorite, client summary. Do you know how many times we call the IRS and they ask us for the basic questions about the taxpayer, their name, their address, their social security, their spouse's name if we request information about the spouse. And I used to always open Power of Attorney and always have it open while I'm on the phone with the IRS, because definitely I don't remember my clients' addresses by heart. I don't know their social security numbers by heart. And now you don't need to use Power of Attorney. Now you can just open client summary and all information will be there. Let me get to the software so I can show you how it looks in the software. To locate client summary, in the left menu bar under Tools, it's right under Resolution Evaluation, or there is a quick shortcut in the gray menu bar, this icon next to Editing Client Profile. So if you click on that, you get to Client Summary. So this is the page you want to have open when you call the IRS about the client's issue. So it will show you the names, addresses, both for the taxpayer and the spouse, their social security numbers, their phone numbers, their email addresses. It will show you if they have been using your client portal, and if not, you can send invitation right from the client summary. You see their date of birth, and one of the newest features we added, we now have categories of clients. At our recent user conference, many users suggested that we introduce this category because at first our software was used mainly for tax resolution clients. However, as we evolved, a lot of users continue using PitBullTax software for other purposes and for managing their cases for tax preparation, accounting, payroll, and so on and so forth. So now you can add categories of clients and you can customize them. I will get back to it, how to do it a little later. So let's get through client summary first. And we have also added here linked clients. So for example, you're working with individual taxpayer who has self-employed business. So you can easily get through to that client, to that linked business or another individual by clicking on this link, and you will get to that particular business client. And vice versa, for business clients, you can get to individual clients. The next section is IRS tax liability. Because this is my test account, it doesn't have any data. Let me get back to my PowerPoint so I can show you exactly how it looks. So I whited out all the personal details, but under IRS tax liability, now you can see all periods or years where your client owes money. So we see on this particular example that the client owes from 2013 through 16, and then on 18, there was no return filed. You show the most updated current tax due and the CSAT of the period. If they're eligible for first-time abatement, penalty abatement, you can see yes or no. So in this case, there was no eligibility. If the tax debt is eligible for bankruptcy discharge based on the time periods since assessment of the debt, you will see here eligibility, yes or no. And when was the record last updated? So when you pull the transcripts last. So every time you pull transcripts for your client, the information is automatically populated to the client summary. And this is also true when you have alerts coming. So even if you didn't pull transcripts through PitBullTax for this particular client, but you did receive an alert, for example, 2018 tax return was filed and IRS assessed, let's say, $10,000. So automatically, client summary will be updated with that particular amount, even though you didn't request transcripts yet and you didn't run the report. The CSAT, you know that each period can have multiple CSATs. So if period has multiple CSAT, you will see a CSAT in light blue color. It's a hyperlink which you can click and you will see amount is broken down by times. So for each amount, you will see a separate CSAT. And also there is a quick link to go to the transcript reports so you can view them and don't go to IRS transcript delivery add-on. And most importantly, we have introduced here one little button that you can click and it will update all information for this particular client. So if you see that your report, your last update happened, let's say 3 months ago, and you really want to see all the current data, let's say you didn't run the alerts at that time, you can click update now. And without going to IRS transcript delivery page, the software will start pulling the transcripts for this particular client. Next section in the client summary is authorization on file. So every time you create a power of attorney 2848 or 8821 tax information authorization, it will create a record here. So it will show you what power of attorney or 8821 was created for what year and periods. And then CAF passed. So you will see whether your power has been registered already with the IRS. So if you pull transcripts and we know that the CAF check passed or you did a CAF checks manually, so you will see here, for example, yes, no, or hyperlink some periods. That means on some periods your CAF check passed, on some not. And when you click on this hyperlink, you will see pop up with the breakdown of where your CAF passed. How many times you call the IRS and they ask you, do you have authorization on file? And you think you do, but sometimes it's not registered. So here it's a foolproof way to show where you have authorization on file or not. And all your representatives listed on 2848 or appointees on 8821 will be listed right here as well. And you can do a CAF check, quick CAF check for this particular client by clicking on this CAF check button as well. Next section in the client summary is cases. So each case that you open under case tracking for this particular client will show with a hyperlink where you can jump into that case quickly. Its status, when it was created, what is a due date, when it was last updated, who is a case manager, and who is a sales representative. And recently, by again feedback of our licensees, we have added here a button to add new case. If you create invoices in PitBullTax software, so you can see all invoices and their statuses under the billing section of the client summary. And latest activity. So everything that you worked on for this client will be linked right here. So let's say you worked with 433F or AOIC or 4506T. You will see everything and you can click through it and get to that particular section of the software. If your client has more than 20 latest activities, you can click view all and you will be redirected to a page where you can see everything that happened on that particular client from the inception, from the time you created that client in PitBullTax software. This is very useful for people who manage their clients by multiple representatives, and you can see what has been done, what has been touched or not in the software. Another section of the client summary is IRS offices on file. So here we have none on file, but if you linked any IRS officer to this particular client, you will see here their names, their email, their emails, phone numbers, and fax numbers. So this is for client summary. Let's get back to my PowerPoint. And we have done tons of updates for our IRS transcripts delivery and reporting. Again, some of them are has been deployed already, and some of you saw it, but some are completely new features. So IRS transcript delivery and reporting. We have added transcripts reports in Spanish. You know that a lot of clientele of our users and representatives live in Spanish communities, and for them it's very difficult to read and understand reports in English. So to better serve the needs of your Spanish-speaking clients, we added a way for you to request transcript reports in Spanish. By default, all reports that you request while pulling transcripts are in English, but there is a way to do it in Spanish. Let me just quickly show you how. Once you go to IRS Transcript Delivery and you select your client, and here you will see a checkbox. I also want a copy of transcript reports in Spanish. So once you pull the transcripts for this particular client, two sets of reports will be generated. One in English for you, if you are not well versed in Spanish, and one for your client in Spanish. I don't know if many of you do it, but a lot of our users, they sell the service of tax problem analysis. And IRS transcripts reports, it's one of the component of that service. And it's very well presented report that some of our users even bind and present it as part of the service that they charge for. So if you have a huge case, let's say payroll liabilities for 5 years, so it's 20 quarters, you will get a very big report package that you can bind, and it looks very presentable, and very clear language helps your clients understand the reports and make the decision and choose an option presented by you. So this is how you do report in Spanish. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. And next thing, we added calculation of unpaid amount on each CSAT. CSAT is collection statute expiration date. So you know that one tax period can have multiple assessments, and there was always a problem figure out how much is unpaid on each of them. And the IRS always applies payments made by the taxpayer or collected by the IRS in a certain order. They always apply it to the tax first, then to penalties, and then to interest. That's how we can figure out which is paid first, which is paid next, and so on and so forth. So let me show you calculation of CSAT, unpaid amount on CSAT. So I'm showing you sample of individual transcript reports, and once we get to the estimated CSAT report, you will see here unpaid amount column. So for every single assessment, you will see how much is unpaid. For example, on 2009, the tax return filed and the assessment was 41,556. So we see here the unpaid amount is 9,186. So this is done for every single assessment. The only thing we don't do here, we don't show unpaid amount for interest. We don't show interest assessment in this report. They're not of particular interest to us, but major assessments of tax and penalties are in the CSET report. Back to my presentation. Then we also started to calculate the last day trust fund recovery penalty may be assessed. So this is very important for people, for your clients who are business owners and who didn't pay payroll taxes on time. And they are thinking whether they will be assessed with trust fund recovery penalty or not. So now you can have a quick answer to them. And in the business report, under payroll tax liability report form 941, we have added a new column at the very end. Last day TFRP may be assessed. So you know that a trust fund recovery penalty is usually assessed from the April 15th of the following years from the filing of the 941's quarterly payroll reports. So from that date, you usually take 3 years and you get the date of when TFRP can be assessed. There are some exceptions that we list under report that it can be extended by several events, like filing Form 2750 waiver, extending statutory period for assessment of the trust fund recovery penalty, the taxpayer bill of rights when there is a timely protest, and if you received letter 1153, it's a 10-day notification letter of that 100% penalty against filer for corporation. So in those cases, if you have any of those exceptions, don't go by these dates because your assessment date can be extended. So this is a nice new feature in our reports. Back to my slides. We have also added Form 990 transcripts. So if you have a lot of nonprofit clients, this is something you can look forward to. So Form 990 transcripts are in PitBullTax transcripts. You can pull them and you can get all the reports generated for you. And while I'm talking about 990, so let me just quickly mention, we do receive some questions about fiscal year clients. So yes, PitBullTax software is compatible with requesting transcripts for fiscal years. So it's not only calendar years for business returns, but fiscal years as well. You can request. There is a checkbox on the request transcript page at the very bottom. So check that if it's a fiscal year and enter the months of the fiscal year end. The next one is secure mailbox with unmasked transcripts. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, starting September 2018, the IRS started masking individual taxpayers' transcripts. So if you don't call practitioner priority service, all you will get in PitBullTax or through e-services directly is masked transcripts. So they mask social security number, they mask names, and it's really, really big pain. So if you're dealing with a non-filer and you really need to prepare unfiled returns based on wage and income transcripts, you now have to make additional step and call the IRS to request it. Hopefully nowadays they've been trained enough and they understand what's secure mailbox and what's request for unmasked transcripts, because when it started happening in January or February, I don't remember, and we were calling the IRS, like every third of them didn't have a clue what is that. But nowadays, yes. And what PitBullTax software does is basically every time your PitBullTax connector goes online, we check your secure mailbox. And if there are any unmasked transcripts for your clients, we pull them in your software. So in your account under files, you can always see those unmasked transcripts. So this is just for organization. Unfortunately, there is no way to request unmasked transcripts from PitBullTax software, like from any other provider or e-services. You cannot do it online. It's only triggered by phone call to the IRS. And now my favorite part of this presentation, Transcripts Dashboard. I'm showing you the screen from our PitBullTax community Facebook page, where users are excited about new features, about a client summary. And Christine Carwin, she posted, "I just stumbled across the transcript dashboard. I was so excited I squealed out loud. My coworkers had to check on me. Thank you, Pitbull." You're very welcome, Christine, and I'm very happy that you liked it. So let me show you that transcript dashboard. The transcript dashboard is located under IRS Transcript Delivery, and it's right here, page of the transcript report, transcript dashboard, or we have added a shortcut here in the gray menu bar. It's the last icon on the right, transcript dashboard, with a $ in it. Again, this is my test account, so let me show you the screenshots with real data so it's easier for you to understand the beauty of it. So it has 4 different sections. First is IRS tax liability. The beauty of it is that you can see at a glance all your current inventory of tax resolution debt that is now on your hands, and you're working with it. So all your clients with all their debts will be listed right here, from the largest amount of debt to the lowest amount of debt. And you can filter it by all this arrow downs here. So if you want to filter by client's name or by IRS liability from lowest to highest and vice versa, tax form and periods, the earliest CSAT, current resolution, and when it was last updated. So you can do all this sorting of the list. So you will see the list and the total IRS liability for all forms that are listed here. So even if you have power of attorney or 8821 for, let's say, 1990 through 2020, we will show you only forms and periods that have debt, and only those will be listed right here. It is so important for you to know, because I know that I have power of attorney for so-and-so for 20 years, but I don't know if his installment agreement has been paid for a certain year. And you always, like, when you call the IRS, like, what years you want to talk about? And before, you were like, okay, let me check where my client has IRS debt. So that's those years I want to talk about. You're not telling them that, oh, you want to talk from 1990 to 2020, because they want to know what they need to check for you. So here is the solution for that problem. So you will see only periods that have tax liability on, and the total IRS liability is listed. The earliest CSAT. So the earliest CSAT is displayed so that you know, maybe there is a chance something is falling off very soon. We don't show here the latest CSAT. We want here for you to see when exactly there is a probability that something will drop off. Then there is a current resolution. So whether you have achieved anything with this client or not. So if, for example, you see dash here, so that means there is no resolution whatsoever. So this is a client I want to pay more attention, because if clients are in active installment agreement, probably there is no issue here. There won't be any collection activity. But if I haven't done anything, or you see various here, that means there are various resolution for different periods. It's a hyperlink. You click on it and you'll see pop up with different resolutions for different years listed. But those clients that have dashes here is the ones you will pay attention to more. And when it was last updated, we'll show you when you pulled transcripts for these clients. And this little button here on the lower left corner, Update All, is one that I like the most. It will pull all transcripts where you have CAF check passed for your active clients, and you don't need to go and do bulk request and select periods, or you don't need to go individually for each client and update them all. Clicking this button will update all your data in the software. So that's the beauty of it. One more thing I want to mention on this page is the total is displayed for all pages. So you see here I have 3 different pages, but the total is displayed for all of them, just so that you know that your current inventory of tax debt is so and so. The next section of Transcript Dashboard is offering compromise filings. And this is something for you to brag about. How many times the prospective client walked into your door and asked, what's your OIC success rate? Are you good with offering compromises? And you kind of knew on the back of your head, like brain, that you are successful with offering compromises. And some of you even keep track of it in Excel spreadsheet or anything else. Here, we've solved this problem. So you can definitely tell what's your OIC success rate. You can see here the summary of all your offering compromise filings. How many you filed, how many were accepted, rejected, withdrawn, how many days each of offering compromise has been in review, total savings that you did for your clients, and number of pennies on the dollar paid on each offer. The graphic will show how many offers were accepted, rejected, or withdrawn. And the graphic below, the table below, will also show record by record where you did file offering compromises and what is the result, whether it was accepted, withdrawn, rejected. So this is very good information to have, and this is information for you to brag about your abilities as a tax resolution specialist. So bear in mind that this information here is listed for your active and inactive clients. So if you have, let's say, offering compromise back in 2015, you had it accepted, you closed the client's case, you made it inactive, it will still show in this report. However, if you deleted the client, and all information will be gone. So you will not see anything in this particular table and section of the dashboard. So my advice to you, don't delete clients, just get them inactivated. Also, a point to mention here, what if the client came to you, and of course, all this information flows from transcript. You don't enter none of it. You don't enter offer amount. You don't enter how much liability was compromised, how many days it was in review. Everything is pulled from transcripts and calculated for you here. So it's hard to cheat the system. But what happens if a client comes to you and they already failed offering compromise with other representatives. I had a client who came to me with 6 rejected OICs in the past. So I took her on as a client, but if I pull transcripts for her, my statistics here will be ruined because I will show all these rejections. And this is not me who did these offers. So what happens then? This is what you do. We envisioned everything. Um, in the client profile, at the very bottom, we have added a field on the other information section, representation start date. So if it's different from the date you created the client, you can enter when you started representing the client. So even if you pull transcripts for those years where you were not representative, the data for offering compromise filings will not screw your record. So just bear in mind that there is a provision for that. And back to my presentation. Next section of Transcript Dashboard is first-time penalty abatement eligibility. So I know we have first-time penalty abatement eligibility report in every single report set for transcripts. However, you will have to go through every single one and see if they're eligible for FTA. Well, we've done some work for you. Now you don't have to. So we listed all your clients here and all forms and tax periods where they have eligibility for first-time abatement and how much potentially you can abate in the last column. Again, where you see the arrow down, that means you can sort these columns. So you can sort in any order. So from this screen, I see that I have potential abatement of 14,763. Of course, I'm not worried about these little ones, $100, $200. They will pay me more than get this abated. But I'm talking about big guys. So when potential abatement in thousands. And here I want to mention about the fees that you can charge for first-time penalty abatement service. I know people who've been to our user conferences. I talk about a lot because I don't know. Apparently, I like contingent fee basis. But yes, for first-time penalty abatement, you can charge contingency fee. That means that you can charge percentage of the potential abatement as a fee. And I've heard many different ranges. How much people charge, up to 30% of potential abatement representatives charge for this service. And how difficult is the service? Once you identified the period where there is a potential abatement, all you need to do, you need to either call practitioner priority service and ask for a potential abatement, ask for first-time abatement, I'm sorry. You can mail in the letter, and we have first-time abatement letter inside PitBullTax. You just check the boxes and send it to the IRS if you don't want to spend time on the call. And if you call practitioner priority service or special line for first-time penalty abatement, the line is 855-223-4017 and extension 225. This is a specially dedicated first-time penalty abatement line, hotline from the IRS. So the number again is 855-223-4017, extension 225. So if you call that number, the wait is very minimal and not unlike practitioner priority service. And if you use paid services like call-in queue, you don't have to wait more than 3 minutes anyway. So long time ago, I was calling the IRS and waiting on hold for 1 hour. those days are gone. So I no longer do this craziness. I use call and queue, and 30 minutes call can earn me a nice fee. And I don't have to look through all my clients. I just updated all transcripts for my clients, and I see this eligibility report in front of me. So this is, folks, how you do money, how you make money. Use it and read about contingency fee. Again, this is my favorite topic. For those of you who are coming to PitBullTax Institute conference, you will hear from me again on that. And the last section of Transcript Dashboard is installment agreement section. So here we will show you all your clients that are in any installment agreement status, whether they have active IA or they have terminated or pending installment agreement. You will see here what forms and periods are involved. Again, if you established installment agreement, let's say for the last 5 years, but they already paid off liability on the first 2, you will see here only the last 3 years with debts. And that is also very important, because sometimes even clients themselves, they don't know on which years they owe. Here you can see, okay, my first client owes for 2013 through 16, and they're on active installment agreement since February of 5th, 2019. Their total IRS liability is 86 plus thousand. They have liens filed. Monthly payment is not yet determined, though they made last payment on March 28th. Why we display not available yet is because we need to have at least 2 identical payments to track in order to determine what is a monthly payment. And usually on the first payment, they take out the fees. So it will show you the monthly payment after a while, but for newly established installment agreements, it will show NA. And potential default. So if you see here, terminated installment agreement in 2013, so we know it's already defaulted. So, however, if you have active installment agreement and they missed 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 months payment, but the IRS didn't terminate the agreement yet, you will see here a message in red that potential default, 1 or 2 payments has been missed. So this is for you to contact that taxpayer and warn them, because if they don't make payments and they won't reinstate the installment agreement, they won't keep it active, then they will have to pay you again for establishing a new one, reinstating the installment agreement. Just because they screw up with one payment, it doesn't mean that they have to go through another service and pay money. Of course, if in your interest it's to generate more money for you, you probably don't have to, but ethically, Circular 230 requires you to represent the taxpayer and advise them of all possible actions that are coming their way. So this is Transcripts Dashboard. I don't know if you're excited, maybe because you didn't see it live yet. I'm very excited. A lot of our users who saw it already, they are excited, so go for it. And let's continue. Next feature is calendar. So we did a lot of improvements to our calendar. So we've made dynamic event creation and modification. We introduced scheduled view of the events, colored events. You can create colored events right now. There are some usability updates too. So let me show you in PitBullTax how the calendar function looks like. So now you see that it's colorful. Now you can play with it and do as much as you want. So there are different colors that you can assign to any event, and we have introduced a new view called schedule. So you coming to work on Monday morning after a great weekend, and you want to know what's going on this week. So you open schedule and you see, okay, you have this schedule for you. So this is a new update. We have also shrinked a little bit calendar. So we removed the filters on top, so the calendar goes up. And so now it's uh, improved feature under case management. Again, calendar is a part of case management and billing add-on, so it's not available to licensees who don't pay for case management and billing, but it is for everybody else who has it. Next thing, let me get back to my presentation. We've made some improvements to to-dos. So now you can create subtasks on the to-dos. And let me go back to to-dos. In each to-do, now you can create subtasks. For example, when you prepare 433 AOIC, it's a huge task. You can share it with different users in your company, or you can delegate it to just one particular representative in your firm or user. And sometimes 433 A's OICs, it's the task that takes the most of your time on, let's say, offering compromise. So you can split it in different subtasks and monitor the how it's being completed through percentages. So for example, here I created 3 different subtasks, and to add a new one, just click add subtask and start typing in. And you can assign it to any user under your account and set a due date. Once you add complete a subtask, you can check this button and it's marked completed. So unchecking, it's not completed again. So check and complete it. This will affect the percentage completion of this particular task. So before we had manual set up to 25, 50, 75, and 100% completion. So now the software calculates the percentages manually. I'm sorry, automatically. So you don't have to worry about it. And again, one task you can break down in as many subtasks as you want, and you can delegate it to and reassign it to different users in the software. So that's our to-dos. Next one is our case tracking. Let me open case tracking second. What we did in the case tracking, we have completely redesigned the case list view, and it will look much cleaner and easier to navigate. You can create case and edit directly from the case list, and you can do it in just one simple step. I'm going to show you how to. We also added here colored statuses and customizable color scheme for those statuses. So let me go to case tracking. So now here you see completely new case tracking list, and you can see that it's dynamic. You can hover your mouse over next to each case, and you can either edit it, export, print, generate reports, or you can delete it. You can also change status dynamically, not going inside the case, and choose a different status. You can change priority and so on and so forth. you can here add a new case with just one click. See here the plus add text. So here, just type in the new case for this particular client. Again, we're working with Michael Johnson here. So this case we create will be created for Michael Johnson. So you can just type in any name of the case, test, and hit enter. So once you do that, the new case is created and it's automatically assigned to you. The client name, it's by default low priority, but you can change it. Status new, and the timeline May 20th, which is today's date. So you can delete this case and go through that. If you want to edit a case, just click edit and you get to your case as you probably used to it. Case tracking is one of the features that I use a lot in my work as a representative, because I want to remember what I've done with a case. I don't have a lot of memory nowadays, getting older. So this is where I go and spend time. If I time track any task, I do it through here. If I receive any correspondence from the IRS, we record message here, and you do it through adding notes. So case progress, adding notes right here. Speaking about case tracking, let me go back. The colored statuses. Okay, how do you change the colored statuses for your cases? Everything that is customizable, you have to know that everything is done on the settings. So settings, you go to case tracking, and here at the bottom, we have added a color column for each status name. And remember, statuses, they come as defaulted ones, but you can add your own ones and select any color scheme you want. And there are plenty of colors to choose from. So play with a rainbow and do as you wish, but it will be like most critical case statuses, probably in red, or any color choice that you'd like is available for you. Now, let me get back to what else we have. Time tracking. Okay, so I opened too much. So now we have ability to edit user whose hours are logged. So I did explain this at the conference, but we have some law firms, and lawyers are not particularly good with tracking their own time. They have paralegals for that. And paralegals are actually logging hours into PitBullTax. So for those law firms, we added this ability. There is also ability to edit the date of the tracked event. So for example, if paralegal was off today, but tomorrow she or he needs to log time for certain task, they can easily do it. We added some new filters to time tracking reports. We redesigned how time tracking list looks, and we added some cool additional statistics and graphics. So let me show you how time tracking looks like. Okay, let's do it this month. Okay, so we redesigned the list, so now you can easily see what type of task you were checking time on, and whether it was billable, how much, what was the time period that you worked, and time tracked. I don't know if many of you use time tracking, but this little clock icon in the gray menu bar starts the clock. So you can start the button right here. You can choose any case that you want to, and choose any client that you're working on. So tax resolution services are usually charged by flat fee, but we do track our time to figure out how much time we're spending on each case, to not undercharge for our service, or not to overcharge. Well, overcharge probably is not a bad idea, but undercharging, like let's say you charge for an offer for 20 hours of your time, but once you start tracking your time, you see that you're spending 30 hours per offer on average. So that means it's time to revisit your fees that you charge to your clients. So time tracking is very important. And what we did here, we added a new report statistics button here. And let me change filter. It shows some cool statistics here. So it will show how much time tracked was for selected date range. I added this month. How much billable time the same. So it will show even the amount of billable time. We had one user, I think Patrick Sheehan, who called last week and said that billable hours doesn't show as time here. The reason is probably you didn't enter the rate that you charge for that representative who was tracking time. So rates are entered under billing settings for each representative, and the software automatically calculates how much billable time was spent. Then there are some nice graphics, what activities took most of your time, and you have a detailed list and graphic as well. What cases took most of your time, and what clients took most of your time. So who needs to get a new invoice because they took too much of your invoice. So this is some cool statistics on time tracking. Let's get back again to my presentation. Another feature is disabled form preview. If you remember, in version 4.0, we released form preview here on the right-hand side. And we got some complaints from people who have not so fast internet in their offices, or sometimes they're on the go and they're using a hotspot from some venues or from their cell phones. So the form preview was slowing them down. So right now we added ability to disable preview. Once you click disable preview, those forms will not be loaded, and it will not take the bandwidth to open your forms, so you can work with them quickly. And to go back, just click enable preview. Next feature in 5.0 is support ticket system. So finally, we have added support ticket system, which I was begging for years for. And Jose listened to my complaints, and we now have it. Basically, before, all support requests, they came through emails, and I was fighting with my reps all the time. Why you didn't respond to this email? Why you didn't do this? Apparently, I was the only one who actually checked emails every minute. They didn't. So now we added ability to create support ticket, and you can do it. For example, if you have some problem that we need to troubleshoot, or you have questions, you're not sure how to use the software, click on the support in the blue menu bar and create new ticket. This new ticket will come to us immediately through our internal systems, and it will pop up immediately on the representative's account. So each of you have their own account representative. So they are going to get your support ticket, and we are constantly monitoring the support tickets. Usually we try to respond within 24, 48 hours. And I always strive for the best customer service in the company, and we open and close support tickets very fast, sometimes within even an hour. So use support ticket if you don't want to spend time on the phone and call us. We don't work with like IRS. We don't have hold on the phone. But if you don't want to call, or it's after hours when we're not in the office, again, we are in Florida, it's Eastern time, so you can easily create support ticket. And give me a break, let me sip some water. Okay, just a few more. I know we're past the hour, so if you really need to get to your engagements, prior engagements, please feel free. We'll have a recording after that, but you will miss a surprise that I have for you. So time tracking, we went through support ticket system, client portal, so ability to update client's login. We had this issue in prior versions, which we now fixed. For example, you have a client who was created several years ago, and people tend to change their email addresses. So you know that client portal login is always email address. So it was very difficult for you to update the email. Now you can do it through client profile. Just locate the client portal section and update the email address right there. Then we have added some cool user permissions. Access to clients created only by other users. So apparently some tax resolution companies, they work differently than people who are solely representative or oriented. So if you have your own sales team of non-tax professionals, they usually sell the case, and it is assigned to another representative, another user under this account. So by default, we always had that you can have access to clients that you created yourself, but in this case, you can have access to clients created by other users. So it's all done under manage users permissions. You can have user level access to certain engagement letter templates. So again, for large tax resolution companies, they don't want to give too much freedom to their reps. So they don't want for them to modify the engagement letters. And that's why we introduced these user permissions. Another feature in version 5.0 is enhanced payment processing. So now you have ability to add multiple merchants. And you know that tax resolution industry is very unique, and especially for new companies, it's very difficult to open merchant account because merchants, they always consider tax resolution as a risky market. So a lot of companies, they have backup plans to add, and they have multiple merchants. So if one, for some reason, for security concern, closes the account or suspend the activity, they can quickly change to a different multiple merchant. Or you can work simultaneously and split transactions between merchants. So it all depends on the ability and on the terms of merchant agreement. For example, some merchants, they don't allow you to charge more than $5,000 per ticket. So in this case, you can split transactions between merchants. So it's a high dollar ticket, you can charge it through let's say merchant A, and if it's a low ticket item, you can charge it through merchant B. So payment processing features are in version 5.0 as well. Then we have new feature, email drafts. It has been launched a few months ago, again, by request of our licensee who couldn't wait until the official release of version 5.0. But this is the idea behind this. You're working in the software, and creating email to your client and trying to elaborate something, and your phone rings. So what do? You pick up the phone, it's your favorite A client, so-and-so, and he said, "Hey, Rena, you know what? I'm sorry to bother you, but can you please take a look how much money we made last year with my wife? I'm sitting here with my mortgage broker, and I really need this information now." And you're like in the talking to yourself, from, and you're talking to yourself like, what the heck? I created a client portal for you. I uploaded all your documents right there, your tax return right there. Why can't you log in and take the data with you? But this client brings you 10 grand every year in tax prep fees for him and his businesses, and you just swallow, and you need to change the client and look in his client portal section. Your email draft that you already done is gone, and you will have to write all over again. So this is why we created email drafts. So if you're in the middle of writing an email and you didn't send it yet, and you were distracted to some stupid phone call or anything else, anytime you change to a different page, it will ask you, do you want to save this draft? Yes or no, similar as it works in Outlook. So this is a new feature that you can use now. Now we have Zapier integration, and this is something very new. We introduced it right before our user conference in May. And for those of you who don't know what Zapier is a platform that allows you to connect various web applications and without you being a programmer. So Zapier, I'm going to open the website. You can connect more than 1,500 different applications to PitBullTax. So Gmail, Google Sheets, Dropbox, Asana, Salesforce, QuickBooks Online even is one of the newest apps on Zapier. So basically, Zapier has an account. They have some different pricing. You can check on Zapier.com. So they have free forever accounts, which allows you to create 5 zaps. 5 zaps means 5 connections. So you can create, let's say, connection of PitBullTax to Salesforce. That's one zap. They have starter plans, professional and professional plus. And then every time something triggers, let's say you create a new client in Salesforce, instead of you typing in the same client in PitBullTax, you can create a zap with Zapier, and the new client that you created in Salesforce will automatically go to PitBullTax. Again, Zapier is free, but mostly will be used as a paid plan. So it's up to you if you want to use it or not. Zapier integration in PitBullTax is located under settings, the last section, Zapier integration. So you need to, first of all, you need to create a Zapier account. Go to zapier.com and create an account there. And then you will follow instructions on screen, and you will create a connection. So for now, since we just started with Zapier integration, you can only bring clients in, and you can import your clients' information as prospects to PitBullTax. But I'm looking for suggestions from all our licensees. So if you have some, please email it to me. Or email it to our office. What other features you want to be able to connect? For example, like if you upload a file to client portal and you want at the same time to appear in your Dropbox. Again, I'm looking for suggestions, and we're very open with it. We want to create easy to integrate environment for you, so you don't have to spend a lot of time on data entry, entering the same data over and over. So Zapier integration is included with standard license. You don't have to pay for API that we have, our add-on API that similarly can connect your other, let's say, websites or Salesforce with PitBullTax. Well, API add-on is a little bit different. You have to pay for it to us. However, you don't have to pay for each Zap, and you don't have to pay for each task that was synchronized. Like every time there is a new client from Salesforce that flowing to PitBullTax, you don't have to pay for that if you use API integration. But if you use Zapier, they count as a task, and depending on your paid plan, you pay to Zapier. Again, no, we don't have any interest in Zapier. They don't pay us any commissions, but it's a platform that is used by millions of people nowadays, very useful. And most importantly, you don't have to be a programmer to connect your web applications. Again, web applications, forget about your desktop tax prep software. Please don't even ask us if we connect your desktop QuickBooks with PitBullTax. No, we can't. So Zapier only works with web-based applications. So we're in 21st century. Desktop applications are dying, and that's why Zapier is so popular and very useful. So send us your suggestions, what you want to zap with PitBullTax and other apps, and we'll implement it. And let me get back. So improved PitBullTax mobile app. I know many people, they don't know about our mobile app, and I was surprised when, let me connect my phone so you can see how it looks like. A lot of our users don't know that we have PitBullTax mobile app. And okay, this is my phone, and we have PitBullTax application right here. Let me look at it. Okay, got it. So PitBullTax mobile has many different sections. So all news and alerts. So every time there is a change in the software, there is update, form has been changed, new revision, new updates of the PitBullTax connector, anything is down, we send system notifications. They are received via email by all our licensees, but apparently a lot of them, they don't get it. It goes into junk mail, and you don't have whitelisted our emails. So when talking to customers, we realize that not many people they get those. By installing PitBullTax mobile app, you will get it right away, and you will get push notification right away as soon as we posted it in our systems. So very useful to have. You will get access to all our recent promotions, and you can see like today's invitation to this webinar. You can get all the files for your clients on the go. I'm gonna scroll a little bit here because all my clients' information is right there. I don't want to show much, but files on the go you can share with your clients. So for those of you, for those of your clients who accepted your client portal invitation, and let's say you are out of the office and you want to share a certain file with them, like send me my tax return request that we get so much from our client, and the one we hate a lot. So even if I'm not in the office, I can easily go to my PitBullTax mobile app and share the file with a client. So very easy to use, and it's free application for all active users of both PitBullTax software and PitBullTax transcripts. There is also a chat option here that you can chat with any of your clients. Select it, and if you don't want to show your cell phone to your clients, you don't want to disclose this information, you can chat through PitBullTax software or PitBullTax mobile. But the coolest feature of PitBullTax mobile, and which I use almost daily, not almost daily, is you can enter your security code through PitBullTax mobile. You don't have to be on the computer. You don't have to log into your PitBullTax account. And this is where it's very useful. I'm sure most of you schedule daily alerts in order to check for the changes on your client's account transcripts, so you can stay on top of their case. So daily alerts you can set up to run at certain period of time. So for example, by default, they start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they run Monday through Friday. But you can customize and set up anytime you want. You can set up from 7 o'clock in the morning, from 3 o'clock at night. It doesn't, it all depends on you how you want to set the time. But here's the beauty. If your PitBullTax connector is installed in your office on your office computer, and it's always launched. So always launched means this PitBull icon is always visible. That means it's working on the background. So whenever there is a request, the PitBullTax connector is picking up. So you need to make sure that it's always launched. So then when daily alerts start to process, let's say it's 7 o'clock in the morning and you are still at your house, so you don't want even to log into PitBullTax software, you don't care for PitBullTax at home. So as soon as a text arrives to your phone, you just open here and enter the code. And I wanted to show you how it works live, but I know that I'm going overboard with time, so I won't have an option, but I'm gonna tell you. So even without opening the SMS message from the IRS, so you don't even open the SMS code, and if you use iPhone like I do, you click here and it will prompt you the code from text message. So you just click that prompt, the number will be displayed, and click confirm. So one click and your software starts working and start processing your request for daily alerts or scheduled transcripts that you need to receive. So by the time you come to the office at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, your requests are processed and you haven't even logged to PitBullTax application at all. So PitBullTax mobile saves a lot of time. And it's useful sometimes when you ask your paralegals to run some transcripts for you. So you don't have to call them and say, well, this is a code that you need to enter. I know you're not supposed to disclose your credentials, but let's say you are working with paralegal and they're on your computer, the credentials are encrypted, but they need a code. So there is no phone call. As soon as you get a click for an SMS message, you get a beep or whatever sound you have it, you go to PitBullTax mobile, you'll get push notification as well from us that there is code that you can enter in the application. Go here, enter the code, and the connection will start. Your connector will go to online status and you will be set. So this is very cool feature. Nobody else has it. So go today and download from App Store or from what's Google Store for Android applications, PitBullTax Mobile. It works on both platforms. So let me stop mirroring my cell phone. And get back to my presentation. And client categories. So the last thing that I want to talk to you about today is client categories. Remember in the beginning, I added that we introduced client categories. Under client profile, if you scroll down to the section other information, you can see categories. And by default, we have added 5 of them: accounting and bookkeeping, audit and examination, payroll, tax prep, and tax resolution. But you can customize it to your needs. Click just this link, customize, and under general settings, you will be able to add category of your liking and sorted the list the way you want it. So it's all up to you. Once you start playing with it, you can restore to default categories to all these 5, and you can add your own categories. This is available for administrators only. So if you have 5 user license, only administrators of your license will be able to customize the categories of your clients. And now let me talk about the surprise that I have for you. Now the surprise. All attendees of today's webinar will get 25% off everything, but today only. So if you want to renew your license, or you want to purchase a new one, or you want to make an upgrade, take this opportunity, because I'm not that generous often. And trust me, 25% off is discount that we don't even give at our user conferences. Shh. So use it. The promo code is PitBull 5.0. It's 5.0, not letter O. You can do it online with this code today only, or you can call our number 877-474-8285 and get your discount calculated by our sales representatives. So with this, I would like to thank you very much, everybody, for attending this webinar. I know I rushed through a lot of things because I'm trying to fit 2-3 hours talk into 1 hour, which I failed miserably. It's 3:27, but I know I have plenty of questions. If you want to stay a few more minutes, I will try to pick some, and I promise you I will answer to you via email later. I don't know if everybody answered the poll, but I think it's already closed, that I can share. Anyway, I wanted to open a poll, but apparently I can't once I already closed it. No problem. So recording available? Yes, recording will be available. So we're going to send it to you via email. Stay tuned. Where the data entry field for services provided to populate the client summary. The data entry is client profile. So information about your client comes from the profile. Information from for CAF authorization on file flows from 2848 and 8821 and from the transcripts. And a lot of things like IRS tax liability, CSATs, eligibility for FTA and bankruptcy comes from transcripts. So then we have case tracking information, pulling to client summary, billing, and all other activities that you do with that particular case. Is a two-factor security mandatory or it's optional? It's totally optional, and it's up to you whether you want to enable it or disable. Is Arizona added as one of the states? Not yet. When will be available the new version? Luis, it's already available. So 5.0, if you look at your software, it's already here. Can we enter cases on OICs that we have done in the past? Yes, absolutely, you can, Chris. So just pull transcripts for that particular old client and you will get your bragging rights. Where do we enter the OIC information so that it can flow to OIC filing area? You don't have to enter it. It flows from transcripts automatically. Not a one field is manually added. How OIC success rate gets updated. As soon as you pull transcripts for your OIC clients, it gets updated automatically. For example, I have a couple of clients where OIC was rejected but converted to IA and accepted. Well, OIC is rejected is one thing. It will affect your success rate, because IA acceptance is not as successful in terms of offering compromise case. It's successful outcome for tax resolution, but not for OICs. The number for FTA again, please. Okay, Sal, it's 855-223-4017, extension 225. That's hotline for penalty abatement. Data schedule input to Outlook, import to Outlook schedule. The calendar schedule, if that's what you meant, yes, you can export it to, you can sync it to Microsoft Outlook or your Google Calendar. Why do the to-dos show up latest due date to current due date? I have to click on the sorting. Latest due date to current due date. Every time I change to do so that I can see what is due today, now what is due in 7 months from now. Good point, Dana. Let's revisit that. If we revoke a POA, will it wipe our OIC acceptance info? No, not if you delete the client. So if you inactivate the client, and even if your POA is revoked, your OIC acceptance rate will stay there. So if you pulled successful transcripts with offering compromise accepted results, it will generate all the data we need. And even if you revoke your POA later, it will not affect it. Just make sure that you don't request transcripts again for that client. Do we need 7216 for every client for just case management? It depends what you do with case management. If you use client portal heavily and you upload tax return information there, it's absolutely required. But let's talk about what you meant by case management. Okay, Tom, so we'll get back to you. Is case management prorated until my renewal? So if you purchase today, yes, it will be prorated until your renewal date. Yeah, Alan, next time I'll try to fit my presentation into announced time frame. Sorry about that. Okay. Can we, is a 20% discount on annual basis only? No, actually it's 25% discount on any product that you have. It's monthly as well. Not very often we have this promotion. Information on subscribing to InQ. Okay, InQ, it's, I don't know, just Google NQ, ENQ, and you will get to the, I think it's callenq.com, callenq.com. And I believe we sent some information on subscribing. I'll try to resend it to you, Patricia. What came in? Let me, I'm trying to, will it work with a Mac? Kevin, Mac connectors are still not working because the IRS still didn't make it compatible with Safari, and our connector is written on Safari browser. So until the IRS fixes the issue, unfortunately, our Mac connectors are not working. It's It's a big problem, but unfortunately nothing we can do at this point. Is there a way to designate a client as deceased for MFJ delinquent filers going forward? If so, if possible, to carry that power of attorney for executor. Actually, right now I'm working on a task where we will make it easy to create deceased taxpayer information on the 2848. Right now it's possible, but it's not very clear for users how to use it. You basically modify the client's name and write deceased in the parentheses after the last name, and you can enter executor's information on the field designated for business name if it's a sole proprietor 2848. I know it's very cumbersome to understand, so we're making clear instructions on how to create power of attorney for deceased taxpayers. Once unmasked transcripts are in secure mailbox, will it populate in PitBull? They will show up in PitBull. We're not parsing secure unmasked transcripts because they have a little bit different layout than what we get through e-services. So they're there, like usually it's wage and income transcripts. First of all, we never parse wage and income transcripts anyway, but they're there on the client's file. And yeah, Luis, you keep asking if when the software will be available. The version 5.0 is already available. Guys, look at the bottom of your software account. You will see version 5.0. So it has been soft launched a couple 3 weeks ago, and it is now available for everybody. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very flattered that you spent 3 hours, 1 hour, 40 minutes with me. And we again would like to thank all our licensees for the great feedback you get us. I would like to invite you to join our PitBullTax community, where you can mingle with other representatives who use our software. The requirement is that you need to be our active licensees. That's how you can communicate with us. But find on Facebook PitBullTax community and ask us to add you to the group. So it's very valuable information, and you can get your question answered not only by us, but many other representatives. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you will enjoy our new version. Until we speak again, bye.